Hello, and welcome to your annual budget training part one. My name is Mary Gestalter, and I'm the chair of the Student Allocation Committee. Please note that in order for us to properly assess your organization's request, we need the person completing this training to also submit your application by the deadline. So what will I be going over in this video? I'm going to be going over what SAC is, what the annual base budget is, what items you can request, who can apply, what are your material requirements, and the timeline of a submission. So what is the Student Allocation Committee? SAC is a student organization and we are funded by the U Toledo General Fee. Our purpose is focused on enriching campus and improving the student experience, and we do that through two ways, through annual-based budgets and special funding requests. So what is the annual-based budget? So the purpose of this is intended for student organizations that have yearly reoccurring expenses. So this does not include one-time expenses like equipment or new initiatives. Also, please note all annual-based budget requests will be submitted through the InvoNet Finance tool, and I will go over that in the second video. So who is qualified to apply for a budget? So you have two requirements. First, you have to be an active registered organization with OSIL for 2 years. So if this is your first time applying, you would have had been first registered in the spring of 2022, and you also have to complete this training, and it has to be your treasurer or president. Also, please note, first-year applicants may only be allocated up to $250. So what is a special funding request? This affects other funding process, and this type of funding is available this year and next year. So the purpose of this is supplemental funding for student organizations. This is allocated on a first-come, first-served basis, and it's funding available for new organizations, new initiatives, one-time expenses, unexpected costs, organizational travels, or to cover items deducted from the annual base budget. Please note that this slide does not cover all of the details of a special funding request, and if you're interested in learning more, I've included a QR code. So what are some appropriate items for you to request on your budget? So this could be entertainment contracts, equipment rentals, honoraria, event supplies, food for events, office supplies if you have a UT office, organizational travel, or reoccurring expenses that relate to your organization's mission. So what can you not request? This would be alcohol, gas or tolls for travel, any form of political campaigning, personal apparel that is not essential to your organization's mission, office supplies if you do not have a UT allocated office, scholarships of any types, payments to students, student performers, or student workers, cash prizes, lottery prizes, or money for gambling events. So there also may be some additional restrictions. So more items may be denied or receive limited funding for the purposes of preserving SAC. For the purposes of preserving funding where SAC feels it's most impactful. And then if you're having trouble determining what is appropriate to include on your request, I've included a chart on this slide. So what are your requirements with this request? So this year, all organizations requesting a budget will be required to provide quotes, supporting material, proof of historical expense, and organizations requesting $3,000 or more will be required to present to SAC in person. So what happens if you submit your request late? For each week late that you submit it, you will be deducted 10%. So for 1 week late, it'll be 10%, 2 weeks late, 20, 3 weeks, 30, and then if you submit yours 4 weeks late, SAC will not be seeing your request. So what is the timeline of the submission? So this application is open from February 19th to March 31st. So if you submit your application within the first week, so by February 25th, you may be able to request your application back if any changes have occurred due to extenuating circumstances. Please note that this is a one-time opportunity and you will need to provide justification. All requests submitted between February 26th and March 31st will be final and you will not be able to request it back. And then if you submit between April 1st and April 21st, SAC will hear your application, but penalties will incur. So what is the timeline after a submission? Final annual base budget decisions are not going to be released until the fall of 2024. Until then, you can see current adjustments on the finance tool. And then when they are released next fall, your budget is going to be uploaded onto your organization's InfoNet page, and an email will go out to your organization's contact notifying you that they are finalized. And then thank you. This is the end of video 1, and in the next one, I'm going to show you how to use the InfoNet Finance tool and best practices for submission. And then if you have any questions on this first video, feel free to email us at studentsallocationcommittee@utoledo.edu.